Hello everyone, welcome back to a Math Monday. Today I am reviewing a little bit more heavy of a book for Math Monday, and that is Understanding Proof, Explanation, Examples, and Solutions of Mathematic Proof by Tom Bennison and Edward Hall. So this is, my understanding is that this is to accompany students who are studying for exams, particularly aimed for people who are doing A-levels. GCSE. So I live in the United States. I don't actually know. It sounds Great Britain. It sounds UK. It sounds very UK. So this is designed to accompany students who are undergoing those sort of studies and examinations. However, I went ahead and I checked this out because it looked very, very interesting just to give a better understanding of proofs. Now, proofs were an area that I did not enjoy in mathematics. I had a couple classes that were proof heavy in terms of me needing to be able to produce a proof for a certain statement, and those were discrete mathematics and abstract algebra. Yeah, both of those were very proof heavy, and I was not very good at proofs, or at least this is the thing, I told myself I wasn't good at proofs, and therefore I didn't believe I was good at proofs. And I'm kind of in a phase of life where I don't know. I think what you decide you're good or not good at plays a much bigger role than what you think. Now, if I tell myself I'm not a good runner, I might not be a good runner. It doesn't mean that if I tell myself I'm a good runner, I'm going to go be an Olympic sprinter in my life. I'm just saying that I think we can mentally set limits on ourselves, and I'm kind of over that. We're not going to be mentally setting limits here in this space anymore. So anyways, back to understanding proofs. I thought this book was an excellent book. So we first started just with mathematical language, some of the basic introductions to the signs or symbols used in proofs. Then we go through the different proof types. We go through direct proofs, indirect proofs, and then the killer, the one that never made sense to me when I was in school, proof by induction. Then we went into like applications, or like just seeing how these could be used in different fields within mathematics. So they covered proofs and applications of Pythagorean theorem, calculus, trigonometric identities, and statistics and probability. So that kind of is what this book covers. I should also start by saying that this book is definitely aimed for a reader who has an understanding of mathematics. Probably like a high school level of mathematics. Definitely some familiarity with calculus is required, or I would think would make this book easier. I should say, I shouldn't say required. This is written for someone who kind of understands mathematics, or at the very least isn't intimidated by seeing a huge page of stuff. I don't think any college level mathematics would be required, but certainly not being intimidated by pages of mathematics and proofs is probably a good starting point for this. So if you're looking for a very, very, very ground level basic introduction to proofs, I don't think this is the book for you, just because I think you're looking for something a little bit more basic. However, these people might actually have an easier book, if that makes it like the level below, like very basic proofs. But this one is probably not where you want to start. However, if you have some passing familiarity with calculus, or if you completed math in high school and did pretty well in it and understood most of it, I think you could start with this book. And the authors do a really good job of building on previous results, so that if you understand the basic results, the next result kind of feels like it naturally follows and you're never really too lost. Again, I have to kind of temper my judgment of these books with the knowledge that I have a bachelor's degree in mathematics, so I have covered most of this material at least once, and for the most part, seeing pages of proofs does not intimidate me. Now, me being asked to provide pages of proofs still intimidates me. I will admit that. So, the first thing, which would be the highest praise of this book, is actually going to be chapter 5, which is, indirect proof, or not chapter 5. I thought I flipped right to it, but I did not. Chapter 6, proof by induction. Proof by induction in discrete mathematics was a nightmare for me. I never really understood what was going on. I just got to the point where I could do something that got me through that chapter of the class. I don't really know how I got through that chapter, but I did. I made it. I passed the exam for that chapter. Fortunately, it was only one topic in a series of many in that class, and I don't mean any disrespect to the professor who taught the class or to the textbook I was using. For whatever reason, the way the professor taught it and the textbook just did not click with me. I remember distinctly where I was sitting in the library on campus when I was trying to solve the problems, the homework problems for this class, and I wanted to rip my hair out. And I should also add, this is not a unique experience. I have talked to other people, and also everyone who was in my class found proof by inductions to be very difficult. However, this book makes it very clear. And this is where I don't know if it's because I have been exposed to this material in the past, albeit several years in the past, and so maybe reading it a second time just clicked for me, but considering how I never really fully grasped it when I was in school makes me think that this book actually just does a good job of it. This book makes me understand proof by induction. As I went through the worked examples, everything made sense. I could do these. This made sense to me. I think this is the best introduction I have seen to proof by induction, and I was looking up YouTube videos, I was reading things online, I was trying to read my textbook, I was reading my notes, I was going to my professor's office, and for whatever reason, the way this book presented the information clicked. So I should say, if you are a student in some sort of class that requires proof by induction, I would get yourself a copy of this book, and I would just for chapter 6, or go to your library and see if they have it, because this would have saved my life in Dr. Spencer's discrete mathematics course. I probably would have a little bit more hair and a little bit less stress if I had this book. But I did not. So I think the strongest point of this book is just that chapter. And that's definitely a personal point, just because I have a very long, deep, rich, and storied history with proof by induction means that the fact that someone can explain it to me in a clear way makes me very much appreciative of this. Yeah, the other sections of this book that I found interesting were the trigonometric identities, just because I always thought they were fun. I did a lot of these, particularly in my senior year of high school. The textbook we used had us doing a lot of these, and I love them. I liked getting, like, here's one. Like, you're proving, well, you know, you can't see it, whatever. This is a bad camera. Proving that two trigonometric statements are equivalent, and going through that, I thought it was the most fun thing ever. I love these, so I liked being able to work through them again, kind of a throwback. And you know, it's a lot nicer when you're not being graded on the material. You can just enjoy it and appreciate the beauty and the mathematic rigor behind it without necessarily worrying about what your grade is going to be. So I think that also really helps. I think this also did a great job of explaining the trigonometric identities. Again, I have less of a rich and storied history with those little things as the proof by induction, but I think if that's another topic that you're struggling with, this would be another great book. I think this book really did a good job explaining all the topics in it in a clear and concise way that was good for students, but also the casual reader. Definitely aimed for students, but as a casual reader, this was a very, very interesting interesting book to browse through for an afternoon. Trigonometric identities, yeah, those are very, very interesting. I should also add that there's a lot of problems associated with each chapter and full worked solutions in the back, which was very nice. So you get to see the content presented, then you get to see worked solution or worked problems, and then you get a list of problems to solve on your own, but those problems to solve on your own also have fully worked and explained solutions in the back, which was super nice. I also really enjoyed, the one thing that I did enjoy from the discrete mathematics course was parity problems. That's, I don't actually know if that's the word for it, but like, prove that given these inputs into this function, you're going to get an even answer. I love those. So getting to do a couple of those for fun, no grade, no pressure, just for the pure joy of seeing how it all plays out was a blast. I love these. So yeah, I got to do those. The whole Pythagorean theorem chapter was very interesting. Throwback to non-Euclidean geometry. Loved that class too. I know it's non-Euclidean geometry started with Euclidean geometry, but it was a very interesting course nonetheless. Yeah, the only part that caused a little bit of angst, fear, and anxiety, thanks to the, again, long, rich, deep, and storied history, was Chapter 10, Proofs in Statistics and Probability, which called to mind This textbook, Mathematical Statistics with Application, 7th edition, still has a couple of sticky notes in here from my time in it. This is a year-long class I took. This was killer. This, hardest course I've ever taken. Most interesting, but hardest course I've ever taken. Chapter 10, the proofs with statistics and probability, called to mind that course, and the second hardest course I ever took in math, or my math course when I was in college, and that was linear regression. Yeah, both of those taught by the same professor too, which it wasn't the professor, it was because I took other classes with the professor. It was definitely the topics, linear regression, and one of them was statistics. It was like a semester of statistics, a semester of probability, both calc-based, both based on this book. So this book and I have a long and rich history. We've spent a lot of time together. I spent a lot of money on this book, so that's why it's still on my bookshelf. Yeah, chapter 10 in this book definitely brought up a lot of memories that I wish I could forget. And I'm not gonna lie, my eyes kind of glazed over some of these proofs. If anyone reads this chapter and finds it interesting, please let me know. I think I just have, again, that deep history of being confronted with some of this material on a test or seeing this written out on a whiteboard and trying desperately to understand what the heck is going on, because we are 37 steps deep in this proof and I haven't understood what was going on since step 3. So I'm just writing down, hanging on, holding on for the ride and hoping for the best. But yeah, when you get a page like this, you don't even have to know what it says. I can just look at that and be like, it takes me back to the exact same classroom. I know exactly where I am. I know exactly how it's going. I know exactly what my grade is going to be on the test. I actually got an A in the class. How was a different story? I don't know. I actually learned a lot, but just, this is just a side note in the course. When you're dealing with a textbook that's this thick, tiny pages, tons of information, yeah, I learned so much, but I still felt like I tip of the iceberg. And I also went to an extracurricular study group for this, just to cover more topics in this and to do extra problems. Very, very fascinating, very, very difficult. And one day I want to master this information, and that's why seeing that chapter, maybe I shouldn't have let my eyes just glaze over the proofs, but it had to be done. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about all my math classes and all my deep, storied, rich histories with math problems, because it's been a jaunt down memory lane. Anyways, I gave Understanding Proofs by Tom Bennison and Edward Hull a 4-star. I think this would have been a game changer when I was in my math course. I would recommend anyone who's going to college in the United States for mathematics to grab yourself a copy of this book if you don't have as much natural talent as I do. Some people, math geniuses. Me, not so much. So I would need a book like this to get me through the courses, and I think this would have been a game changer. I think this explains all the topics very, very well. But even if you're not going to be doing any sort of school, you're not a student, you just kind of have an interest in proofs, I think this is definitely a really good book to pick up. Again, I think they explain things well, the results follow logically, they have enough clearly worked examples to show you what's going on, and the sample problems that you can try are really, really interesting, and they start easy and kind of work their way up, so you can see what you're doing, and you can see the fully worked and explained examples in the back, or problems in the back if you want to know. Overall, this was a 4-star read. I loved this book. And yeah, if anyone needs a book or if anyone has any other books on proofs that they could recommend me, that would be really interesting because I'd like to see how this book compares to other books on proofs. I have not read a whole lot of books on proofs, not really a topic I've delved into. So if anyone else has any other books to recommend in this vein of topics, please let me know. I'd be interested to hear about it. Anyways, hope everyone has a good day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, have fun.